As you just heard, I am Lara Overton. I'm honored to be your MC this evening. It's my privilege to welcome you, all nearly 500 friends and supporters of Marian University, to this wonderful event in this gorgeous new arena. If you didn't have an opportunity to walk around and see all of the incredible amenities, certainly take some time this evening to do so. The weight room is incredible. I said to the president earlier, I don't think I've seen a basketball court ever dress up quite this nicely. I am truly honored to be your MC for the first major event in this incredible facility. Let's give a big round of applause for Marian for putting all of this together, creating such a wonderful event space that will be the home for many future events, especially home to those student athletes who will call this their home court. We come together this evening to celebrate all of Marian University athletics and, of course, our greater Indianapolis community. From accomplishments on the field or court to accomplishments in the classroom to these impressive new facilities, the Marian University Athletics program is truly the whole package, made up of incredible student athletes, coaches, and those committed faculty and staff who respect the dignity of the individual, mind, body, and spirit. Marian University has made a name for itself in Indiana and beyond, of course, as an institution of higher education that produces great athletes who are also destined to become transformational leaders for service to the world. These leaders are drawn to Marian for the opportunity to play the sport they love at the collegiate level. You can bet they'll apply that same passion and effort in their professional lives after graduation because Marian prepares them so well to win both on the court and off of it. This evening, we are joined by more than 25 of these student athletes who are serving as volunteers for our event. Some of them may be seated even at your table. They're easily identified by their name badges. But will those Marian University student athletes who are here tonight please stand up for a moment? Let's give them a big round of applause, because the money raised tonight from sponsorships and ticket sales will directly benefit these students in the form of scholarships. I know that they are certainly very appreciative of your support and your participation tonight, because it makes it possible for them to receive high quality education and graduate as tomorrow's transformational leaders. During dinner tonight, take the opportunity to talk with those student athletes, share your experiences, get better acquainted with these very special men and women. Ask them why Marian is so special, why they're so invested in being a student athlete here. Feel free to impart your own words of wisdom and learn about those great things that they're not only doing here at Marian, but they're also planning to do in their futures. Students, be sure you get what you can out of this night's event, because there are so many incredibly impactful people in the world of business and sports that you can take so much wisdom, so much insight from. We have an exciting evening ahead, so let's get things started. It is a school night, so we promise to have you all out by 9 p.m. That's well before things tipped off for last night's national championship, so there's no waiting until after midnight for one shining moment. We'll get you guys out of here promptly by 9. Please join me in welcoming the best transformational that there is on Marian's campus, their favorite big man on campus, President Elsner.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for our fearless leader and team captain, former Nebraska Wesleyan University Prairie Wolves quarterback at 6 foot tall and an even taller personality. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President Dan Elsner.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And Lara, thank you very much. You had to talk over a few of our guests. I hope it wasn't our student athletes. They wouldn't do that, would they, Coach? Huh? We wouldn't tolerate it. They're always good at mealtime. Well, we are back on campus. We're very thankful for that. Some of you haven't seen our new arena. We're very thankful. And I saw Jack Snyder and some of the other folks that led the charge on building this big facility up. Our chair of the board, Mike Becker, and his wife Bea are here, and other board members. I always like to recognize board members. They do so much. Would you please stand, Board of Trustee members? We're very, very humbled by where we're at. If you'll recall, some of you are longtime friends. We started about 13 years ago now, our football program, 13 years ago. And I want to be polite and not a braggadocio, but in those 13 years, we had one losing season. We've been to the national championship 3 times. Some of you have graduated from universities that will never get there, I predict. We've only won 2 of them. We did have a letdown, but we will get back there. But we started off in a tent with this big adventure when we wanted to expand our athletic program, and now look what we've done. It's been really wonderful. So we're very, very thankful. We're thankful for the progress. I want to give a special welcome to Archbishop Charles Thompson, who's been a dear friend of Marian. Thank you for being here, Archbishop. We're very, very thankful for that. By the way, we're making a special fuss in memory of Joe Clayton, and Joe Clayton and the Archbishop have a lot in common. Now, Joe would really like this from heaven, wouldn't he? That he has something in common with Archbishop. But they're both graduate of Marian University, so they're like a sister institution. Archbishop lives just down the street, become a great supporter and good friend of Marian, and we appreciate your leadership, Archbishop. Thank you very much. So I also want to talk a little bit about a special recognition we want to do tonight. Calling the family, and I talked to Jan Clayton about possibly doing this. And I want to tell you a little story about, this is the Joe Clayton Circle of Honor dinner. I want to tell you it all came to be very quickly, and we wanted to recognize Joe. I don't need my notes for this, so I can tell you this story. First of all, a little context. We want to recognize Joe for a lot of reasons. He's helped Marian, but it's bigger than that. Years ago, Archbishop, I was at the Archdiocese, and we started raising money for Center City Catholic schools. And a friend of mine said, you know, there's a Catholic guy here in town named Joe Clayton, and he runs RCA. You probably ought to go meet him. Well, that's all I needed to hear. So, and I saw, I don't know if you remember this, they had an article in Business Week about him, big national article. And Joe had a meager little ego. He hardly noticed things like that. But I brought the magazine and the media. He beamed when I brought that magazine. I said, Joe, I've been reading about you. So we go in there. Joe has a chef. He has lunch for us. Beautiful out the RCA Thompson building. And of course, the chef was excellent. He stole him from the glass chimney. He told me that whole story. Asked Joe for a gift for the Center City Schools. He gave it. We shook hands, left. And little did I know, I had just made a dear friend. So then the next year, we went out to see him with Michael Browning. And we said, Joe, we're back. He said, that doesn't surprise me. And we said, we want you to do what you did last year and a little more and something special. He said, fine, I'll double what I did last year. He said, what's the special thing? We want you to chair the event. He said, I can't do it. I go to France, I go to Korea, I go to Malaysia. I think it was Malaysia. He did me the whole laundry list. You don't want me as chair, I'm never here. And so we kept talking. And we said, started talking about the sisters and all the things they did for us in Catholic schools and everything. And so as some of you know, I don't quit easy. So I said, Joe, if you chair this, it'll cut down your burn time. I mean, this will be the best blessing of your life. He said, I'm sure it would be, but I don't have time. I can't do it. I'll help you with some other way. So we kept talking about all the things people did for us growing up and kept it up. In a real polite way, like Joe would do Southern style, what would I have to do to get you to leave? I said, chair the event. He said, I'll tell you what. You know, of course, then when he puffs out his chest, you know it's going to be good. Joe says, if we double the goal, I'll do it. But I'm not going to do an event just for $100,000. If we can go over $200,000 and you can do that work, I'll do it. Well, little did I know. All of a sudden, I mean, owners of NFL football teams were sending me gifts, and he had the whole thing. It was the RCA crew. I mean, this thing was unbelievable. I think we close to tripled it. We were down at the convention center. It was an unbelievable event, and then we became really good friends. Joe and I became lifelong friends. It was 26 years ago, I think I met him for the first time. And every time you called Joe, Joe would say, "You're my friend." What did Joe teach me? Tonight at Mass, Father Barry used a term, I don't think I've heard this phrase, Father, an icon. We look for people in our lives who are icons of God's love. Father Joe, Father Joe, he was a father, his beautiful family. But Father Barry's right, and Joe was an icon of God's love. He was a man of deep, deep faith. He was a man that loved his family. I mean, that was it. Now, based off of those two things, he worked hard. He taught me how to be a good friend, how to be loyal. Even if you didn't talk for a long time, he would always help you. He was a raconteur of rare form. He had great phraseologies. Like if you ever get a call from Joe, it was he had a friend. Another friend needed a job or his kid in school or something, but he had a friend. He'd usually say, "I got this guy." He said, "Now, Dan, he's not Phi Beta Kappa, okay? But he's pretty good. He can help you here and there." And then sometimes he would call me and he'd get this guy, and I'd say, "I think I'm going to," it was a whole different guy. He said, "Now, I want to warn you, he'll break a little glass." You know, everything was a little tagline to tell pretty much the whole truth. My favorite one is when he told me about the time he asked his dad for a job at the liquor store. His dad had a liquor store. And he said, "Joe, son, I love you, but I can't have you in the liquor store. You're too fond of the product line. We can't have you. We can't." Those are just a few, but he had a million lines. And my favorite one, and funny thing, I didn't even know at the time what it meant to him, but I went out and visited him when he was the head of Sirius Satellite, and he was telling people, he walked me around the office like his long-lost brother, introducing me to everybody, and he told me about an interesting occasion. We were in St. Andrew's School. We would have breakfast with business leaders to get them to help support the Center City schools, and some little beautiful child looked up at Joe, held onto his suit coat. I'll never forget it. He said, "Hey, mister, are you rich?" It was the only time I saw Joe Clayton dumbfounded. He didn't know what to say. I saw it going on. I came over and interceded. "Yes, young man, he's very rich. He has 5 children. And that just released Joe, and he left there. He said, "How did you know to say that?" Well, years after that, he retold that story, how one time in his life, Joe needed help with what to say to somebody. The little kid had his heart. So, when we have events here, we love to recognize people, and certainly Tim McGinley, Allison Melanchthon, we're going to honor them and recognize them. They are 2 icons of God love. But in a special way, years ago, we said we're going to start a football team, which is all well and good, but we didn't have a stadium. That started to become a problem. And we didn't have a field. And I said, "Joe, I got a problem." He came over for breakfast. And he said, "Dan, you know I love Bellarmine, number 1, but I'm going to help you because you're my friend." And I said, if we could get a gift going, and then Jan threw this mammoth party with remember the Marian ice sculpture by the pool? And we invited all of our friends. I think you guys said invite about 20. We had about 40. It's hard to build a football team. So anyway, Joe had this big party with Jan, and that got us started. It was like a log was pulled out of a log jam by Joe's friendship. So for his love of faith, Catholic education, family, for teaching us how to be a friend, how to be a loyal friend. Not everybody knows how to do that anymore. He has a beautiful family and brother and sister, and he was the guy that could do it. We have a big, I call it a monument, called the Clayton Circle of Honor out there. We have wonderful names in it. It's minor names, like Peyton Manning and Lou Holtz and Andrew Luck, stuff like that. So we're going to put Joe Clayton smack dab in the middle of that. And that's good. Mm-hmm. And I say all this as an introduction to a little videotape. Then I want to call his beautiful family up here and give him this honor. It's an honor for us to recognize and memorialize a person with a legacy, student athletes and friends worth emulating. Joe Clayton on big screen.
I met Joe Clayton about 35 years ago through a high school teammate, and we became a lot closer when I took the job here at Marian University because he had a great love for Marian University. And I just really appreciate everything that Joe has meant and done and will continue to mean in the future.
So Joe and I would meet, and they wanted to bring this idea of bringing Alpha Delta Gamma to Marian's campus. And I get to know Joe pretty well, and he starts to kind of explain to me about what it means to be an Alpha Delta. It's all about service and community and brotherhood. Joe was always one to support anybody who he felt was just a good person and genuine and wanted to follow what they cared about. Joe told me a long time ago that there was one thing he always wanted to do, and that was take things from good to great. He can always take something and make it better. And taking that mentality and the from good to great, it's still on my computer to this day.
I first met Jan and Joe Clayton when they helped us 10 years ago start the Clayton Circle of Honor to honor coaches and members of the community who truly supported character building leadership through athletics. And I got to know Joe much better in later years because of his love for his fraternity and his strong, persuasive conversations about how meaningful it could be for Marian University to have that kind of group on campus. Joe was as much fun as he was hardworking, and I had an opportunity to spend some time with he and his brother Mike. I had the opportunity to call him Joe Paul, as those who really knew and loved him did. I'll remember Joe as bigger than life, filled with fun, more faithful than pretty much anyone I know. The kind of guy that always filled the room with both energy and passion, ideas, and excitement.
One of the best interactions I had with him was actually one of the last ones I had with him. The guys here at Marian, within the fraternity, we went to his house actually last year and did the valet for him for his dinner that he has before the Circle of Honor. After the dinner, he actually came out and said, "Hey, you guys want to just come inside and hang out for a little bit?" So we were able to sit down and talk with him for 3-4 hours. Those conversations, those interactions with him will always stay with me. You know, when times get tough, I think about what he would have done. You know, what would Joe do in this situation? How would he want me to live my life?
Joe Clayton, the best way I can describe him was like a force of nature, somewhere between a tornado and a hurricane. I'm not sure exactly how you describe him, and I'll never forget him. Joe had deep beliefs. He believed certain things about his faith, about his family, about what was important, about how when God blesses you, what you do with those gifts and talents and resources. Nothing happens till a leader steps forward and gives it a pop. And look what's happened since Joe said yes to football. I'll help you build that stadium, Dan. He said, "I don't care about football, Dan. I just want to help you." You know, that was Joe Clayton talking. But this Clayton event then has spun up. We've literally raised millions of dollars for scholarships, financial aid, building up this beautiful facility and others. So the beautiful thing about a life, you get one, and you get to leave a legacy or not. You get to choose. Joe chose a legacy. Come on forward. We'll put Jan in the middle. You want to hold that? Well, I think Joe would say, don't I have a beautiful family? Wonderful people. So thank you very much for letting us honor you. I said we've been here. We'll be very brief and we'll have dinner. We've been here 10 years making wonderful progress. We've been able to honor people and recognize them for the icons they are in our community. Like I talked about some of the honorees, amazing people. And tonight we'll add 2 more to the circle of honor you see going in the stadium. Over the last 13 years for athletics, we've raised millions of dollars. Just from this event, the scholarship money alone, many people have given special gifts for this, but just for scholarships alone, we're approaching $2 million. And the scholarships are very important because without the student athletes, we don't have a reason to be here. That's Marian. Beyond that, I would tell you our athletic program, and the board would tell you, has been a strategic priority. You know, it wasn't that long ago, it was 10 years ago, we had 300 and some athletes, student athletes. Now we have close to 600. It's about, of our traditional age student body, our total student body, last year we served 4,443 students. In 2002, our total population was 1,000. But of the traditional undergraduates, about 24% are student athletes. So about 1 out of 4. And that means there's a band, right? And cheerleaders. And that means there's big football Saturdays here are just wonderful gatherings of family, and we have mass afterwards. We are building community and pride through all these athletic events. But you can't do it without money. Building community, relationships, and connections may be the most important thing that we can do today in our society based on values and faith. To be connected people, not to be loners. To show young people you belong to something bigger than yourself. And when we look at our 5 power goals, mission and identity, academic excellence, you'll hear from Steve Downing, our AD. Student athletes here do not get to fool around academically and play ball. Mr. Downing's favorite thing, can't trust you in the classroom, can't trust you in athletics. Can't trust you during the week in classroom, can't trust you Saturday. It's all one deal. Leadership training. Think of this as like a science laboratory, but it's a laboratory for leadership development. Same with the weight room, same with the courts, same with the fields. Character and leadership development. You'll hear that in Allison and Tim tonight. Every goal we have, athletics has played a role. Leadership, enrollment, academics, mission, and identity. We're building a great Catholic university in a great American city. And athletics is playing a big role in that. And you're making it possible. I deeply appreciate you being here. I deeply appreciate your financial support. On behalf of the students, frankly, without you, it wouldn't be this big. It wouldn't be this powerful. It wouldn't be the influence in this city that we are today. So, with that, I'm going to let you meet one of our student athletes, Jaron Bush. Now, Jaron Bush has had a normally Sister Norma does our prayer, but she's been sick, so she can't be here tonight. So we got someone that looks quite a bit like her. Jaron, you're a little overweight for that, but I don't think you're going to lose it right away. He's from Carroll High School in Flora, Indiana, a 2018 All-American. If he keeps lifting weights, his goal is to be as strong as the president. He's got a ways to go. He's going to graduate in May with a business degree. He already has a very good job. He's been a great leader on campus, faith-filled man, a good athlete, a good student, and you're going to lead us in prayer, right, Jared? And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we know you're hungry, but around here we bless our food. Please welcome 4-year letter winner and member of our 2015 National Champion Football Team, Jaron Bush.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, Lord of all holiness, we are gathered here tonight to celebrate Marian University and all who are involved in giving student athletes the opportunity to succeed. We ask for your special grace for Sister Norma, who is in Oldenburg, Indiana, gaining strength for surgery later this month, and for the soul and the family of the Clayton Circle of Honor inductee, Joseph P. Clayton. Thank you for the Marian student athletes who are involved in using their gifts of self-discipline, humility, fair play, and human dignity, for this is made possible through the generosity of those who share their gifts. May all who are involved in continuing to be encouraged to embody the Franciscan values that Marian University has bestowed upon its community. Watch over all those involved in Marian athletics, student athletes, trainers, coaches, officials, and donors, and bless their efforts because, because they bring great pride and accomplishment to Marian University. May God bless those who have taken their time to prepare this wonderful meal and bless the food we are about to consume. May the power of the Holy Spirit carry us through our mission as Marian Knights on and off the field. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Enjoy your dinner.
I hope that everyone has enjoyed your dinner. If you're up grabbing drinks, just make your way back to your table. As you do so, and we turn our attention to the second half of our program this evening, can we just give one big round of applause for Aramark and their incredible staff, the wonderful meal, and all the incredible service that they provided. I mean, an undertaking of this size, the first major event in this new space, and they have just done such an incredible job tonight. So we really appreciate their being here and their service for this incredible event. I'd like for you to all please turn your attention to a short video. All of you, but that certainly makes me want to jersey up, put the spikes on, get back out there and compete. So that's a note for all of you student athletes who are there. Certainly cherish the time that you have here at Marian representing your universities, because it all goes by much too quickly. We trust that you all enjoyed your dinner. Again, compliments to the chef and staff of Aramark. Before dinner, we recognize the student athletes who are here, and now I'd like to acknowledge all of the hardworking people who take care of those dedicated student athletes. Could all the Marian University coaches and trainers, both current and former, here tonight, please stand and remain standing. Now could all the former Marian University athletes please stand and join them as well. Okay, don't sit down too quickly. How about anyone who played college sports, any former student athlete at any level, any university, please stand. Look around the room at just how many student athletes we have who are not only here in this room tonight, but also doing incredible things impacting our communities. To kick off this second part of our program tonight, we'll hear from the man behind Marian's athletic success, from the recruiting of those talented student athletes who we just recognized, those coaches, and then the attention to their physical, academic, and spiritual needs, and the building of programs that bring home conference and national titles. You see them all around here. You saw them in the trophy cases as you walk in. We know to expect the very best from Marian University. Here is your director of athletics who makes it all possible.
Ladies and gentlemen, direct your attention to the stage for someone who is hard to miss. He was a Hall of Fame basketball player for Indiana University and played for the Boston Celtics, winning an NBA title in 1974. A giant man with a giant heart, the Indiana Hall of Famer, Mr. Steve Downing.
Thank you for that introduction, Larry. I appreciate that. And thank you all. We appreciate everyone that come out tonight, friends, families, and supporters. As President Elsner say, scholarships, I mean, every school has to do that in some way or another, have to raise scholarship money. And I also would like to say, I know we have a lot of our athletes out there, and I hope you have a chance to talk to them, because the one thing that I strive for in all of my work and all of our coaches is that they will tell you that they're having a great athletic and academic experience here at Marian University. That's very, very important to me. I'd like to thank Tim and Allison for being a part of, our honorees for being a big part of this program, lending their support. I know you guys realize the importance of what we're doing here, but you two fit right into what we've done and the other honorees that we have had in the past, and I appreciate that. We've had a great year here, and this is not just about any particular team. This is about all our athletes, all 600 of them that President Elsner mentioned, and the job that they do. And I really appreciate them for what they're doing. But I did want to recognize our cycling team, because I saw them yesterday. Where you guys at? Cycling, would you stand up, Coach Peterson? Okay, and y'all stay there for a minute. Stay there. They just got back yesterday from Texas, DeSoto, Texas. They won a national championship Saturday, and it was a BMX championship. And BMX is, if you've seen on television, where they ride them bikes up the hill, flying through the air, and those types. They say, Dean, I know you didn't think I knew that, but yeah, I do pay attention, but he's done a great job, and when I think of dominance, it has to be the job that he's done here with our cycling program. They're not only great cyclists, but they're good student athletes, and the success that he's had with this program really makes me feel good that he's an even-keeled guy who tries to help all our other sports. He's here when we do win championships, and so I really appreciate the cyclers and what you guys have meant to the university, Dean and Michael Kabaski. Thank you, guys. I'd like to also acknowledge my staff. They're out there somewhere. I have 5 people actually, that really make me look better than what I really am. My sports information guys, Zach Wadley, Mitch Huppert, I don't know where you're at, but they work hard. All the computer stuff that you read, the writings, they write my speeches sometimes. They do a good job. I have a marketing person. I think she's up in that booth. Really good person, Tony Polizzi. She does a great job for me. And then the newest person I have is Anna Kirby, who does a lot of the academics for me, and she takes a lot off the plate. She just started in December, and she's a former women's basketball player. Really like her because, as I told you last year, same time, I have these women. My wife has been really good with helping me, good cop, bad cop role. And so having Anna Kirby really helps out a lot. But the scene's still over everything that we're doing here, guys. For me, and maybe it's because I played basketball, is this arena right here in itself. I could not visualize this in a lot of ways. When I came here eight years ago, I wanted to build a weight room because I thought that those things are so important to winning in a program, and so we do have that. And as I was telling, my vision was 5 years, and it took 8 years to get it done, but at least it didn't take 20 years to get it done. So I'm happy about that. We're headed in a great direction. And my whole emphasis, again, in this arena itself, it hosts 3,000 people, and we've had that many people at a doubleheader basketball game, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. When we put this together, the highlight for me, or what I'm looking most forward to, is this video board up here. The things, we don't know how to use it yet. We're going to have the camera, well, it's too much video right now, but we're going to get cameras in there. We're going to figure it out because we're building for the future. I want to have things. We put there's 8 locker rooms back here in this building for referees, faculty, staff, students, and we have like little details like you've seen in pro games. Clocks are in the locker room so that the referees and the teams will know they don't have to keep running out to see how much time's left before the game start or halftime. So we've done a lot of good things, and I'm really, as an athletic director, proud of. You know, the 4 people that use this building are tremendous. They're going to use it. All 4 of those teams made nationals this year. Wrestling team, volleyball team. They only played 1 match here, but it was a tournament. It was a playoff game they played here, and I'm really proud of Ashley, what she's done. She's won the conference twice in a row. Our women's basketball teams won it 4 years in a row, the conference championship, so they're headed in a direction I want to go. Men's basketball made it to the Final Four this year. Actually thought they had a great chance to win it all, but that's okay. I have great coaches here, and guys, this money that we're raising is going to help offset these kids. We're doing a lot of great things here. You know, what I talk about, you know, in the program, our football team won their conference championship. So we have our track team. We have a lot, and I don't want to miss any of these folks because they work hard every day for what we're trying to do. But what we do is, guys, as an athletic director, what I want these coaches to do with all these athletes, because I think you know it, is I want those athletes to be pushed. If they're capable of playing up here, I don't want you down here playing. And that's the way I want them to push, the coaches to push our athletes, and that's the way I push our coaches. I want them to be the best. I'm not going to let them play at a lower level than they're capable of playing at. It's just not going to happen. This is an excellent facility. We're second to no one what we're doing right now. And I hope you have a chance to kind of look at this facility over here, because that training, the Drew Fitness Center is mega. I couldn't envision something like that 5-8 years ago, or the weight room, what we have right now over there, a dance studio, it's a wrestling facility, wrestling room upstairs, a practice room, and so there's a lot. And a lot of you have so much to give us, to help us this way. And it's not something that I take for granted, the support I receive here. You know, my heart is truly vested here, you know, and it really I had lunch Sunday with a couple of my former teammates at IU, Quinn Buckner, Scott May. And, you know, when they tell you how proud, because they followed what we've done here. And I thank you guys, all of you, and I especially thank, and I would tell you as President Elsner, you know, and it does make a difference. He's my 5th president. He's the best president I have had, only because he knows a little bit about athletics. Not quite as much as he thinks he knows, but he knows an awful lot, and I really appreciate his support. And I want to just thank you right now for all that we've done. And I thank my coaches and the athletes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Steve. You know, we heard in the video that he talks about good to great. Certainly, he is the epitome of a great leader for this university. Marian is so lucky to have such a great role model, mentor, and champion of collegiate athletics. Another round of applause for Steve. It's time to welcome our inductees into the Clayton Family Circle of Honor. Our second inductee of the evening is actually a Boilermaker. This 1963 chemical engineering graduate of Purdue University and a 1965 graduate of Harvard's Graduate School of Business has been winning on and off the court his entire life since beginning his record-breaking basketball career at Cecina High School. A leading scorer for the Purdue basketball team, he went on to serve on the Purdue Board of Trustees as chairman for 16 years. I think we're just getting boiler ups like all around the room here and there. I'm seeing it. His company, House Investments, created over 60 investment partnerships in residential and commercial real estate, totaling over $750 million of property in 12 states. In his spare time, he has even served as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Labor in Washington, D.C., and was also a White House Fellow. Recognized as a valued community leader in the state of Indiana, he has been named Sagamore of the Wabash in 1969, 1996, and 2003. Are you ready to meet this local legend? Go ahead, guys. I know you're wanting the boiler up. Go ahead and do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for this award-winning, record-breaking basketball star from Cecina Memorial High School and Purdue University. He's super smart and generous. Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet Indiana Basketball Hall of Famer, Tim McGinley.
Congratulations, Tim. Our third inductee of the night, equally impressive. A collegiate gymnast from Colorado State University. She has been flipping circles around sports management for over 30 years. Vice President of Holman Motorsports and former President of Indiana Sports Corp. She is best known, among many, many things, for leading the team that brought the Super Bowl to Indianapolis in 2012 and still goes down as the best hosted Super Bowl. A long time and Emmy-winning Olympics gymnastics broadcaster, she also serves in numerous community organizations and has received numerous awards, among them also the Sagamore of the Wabash in 2012. Are you now ready to meet our third honoree?
Ladies and gentlemen, she can catapult her body and entire community with her sports management prowess. She juggles Indianapolis Motor Speedway event production with multiple board of director positions. Meet this exceptional servant leader and local gym, Allison Mellangton.
Before we conclude, a special announcement by President Elsner. Let's have another round of applause to welcome him onto the stage. For our student athlete volunteers as well, the athletes, the cheerleaders, the band, everyone who is here, those volunteers who are dedicating their time to make this evening possible.
Is this working tonight? Yes. So I guess I have it. A few things real quick. Purdue. We love Purdue. Mitch Daniels, a good friend. We had a little fun the other day. Their girls' basketball team, when they came down for the tournament, practiced here. And the bus driver with Purdue as big as life all over the bus gets stuck. So I take a picture. I say, President Mitch Daniels, you can teach people to go to the moon, but you can't drive a bus. The thing exploded all over the place. Lara, thank you. You did a great job. Allison, two things. Number one, last year Mark Miles let me drive the pace car for about a week. When you go home, you tell Mark you got a request, or we'll retract your award. And then Steve Downing. Did you hear what Allison said? Comfortable in silence? Now you are doing really good until that last remark. Now I can call plays better than anybody. Coach Henniger, I call plays for you every week. Every time he scores a touchdown, that's the exact play I called. Every time they don't, he didn't listen. And no one ever hears it. Works great. You got to be comfortable in your silence sometimes, okay? I'm supposed to wrap up by thanking you. It was really an honor to recognize Joe. And the qualities up here, I feel humbled. Thank you. I mean, and your remarks were perfect. Student athletes, I hope you paid close attention. A few years ago, with some trepidation, and not trepidation because we had the faith, and actually the sisters are here, by the way. Should we have the sisters stand so we can clap? Sisters. Every time we have another big project and the board, we look at it and we all, there's a little pucker factor and all this. You get a little nervous. We go to the chapel, we pray again. And we always remember this phrase. The Sisters of St. Francis always talked about the faith and courage to venture forward. And so a few years ago, when we drew up this strategic plan where we were going to be nationally known for educating transformational leaders, the board asked, well, what does that cost? You know, because ideas are a dime a dozen, somebody has to fund it. And we said, well, it's, you know, that's the Pope. Archbishop got a call from the Pope. You better take that, Archbishop. It wasn't his phone, by the way. I'm just teasing. Poor guy. You're probably going to say, that Dan Elsner. Now, tomorrow, if you see in the paper, excommunicated president, no, he wouldn't do that. But, well, the tally on building the great Catholic university is pretty big. It's an investment. It doesn't cost money. It's an investment. And we figured, well, it's about $250 million for this plan. A school our size doesn't normally raise that kind of money. So we said, well, let's just say 150, and then when we hit 150, we'll go to 250. Well, that's our plan. So we got to raise $150 million by 2021. And we announced it a few years ago, and we're a little nervous about it. But tonight I wanted to tell you that we're already at $115 million, and we got a couple of years to go. As our good coaches know and our outstanding athletic director said very well tonight, when you can be here, don't settle here. Where do we put that money? We put it in the future of our community and educators, business leaders, healthcare workers, future priests, future ministers, people that run not-for-profits. You cannot find a better place to invest money than in a young person that will be a leader and advance human flourishing in our community. I thank you for being here and investing. I'll be with a brown bag by the door if you want to add to the scholarships. I am pleased to announce tonight, though, I just talked to the advancement, John Fink. We're just approaching $200,000 a night, and there'll be an endowed scholarship for a Cecina Memorial grad tonight, endowed in your name, Tim, in your name, Allison, and in Joe Clayton's name. So the three of them have, in each of them, people have donated specifically in each of them in excess of $50,000 each. That's remarkable. So. It's athletes, everybody, it's good to be friends with good friends, okay? And that's what we experience here tonight, and I thank you. It's now my pleasure to close this wonderful event with a prayer, which we do at the beginning and end of everything around here. A strong, faith-filled leader, Ashley Pritchard, our volleyball coach, Steve mentioned her. She's done a great job, was in the national tournament, won the conference this year. Excellent recruiter, excellent coach, excellent mentor, excellent character, excellent mom and wife, and she's just the kind of example we want in front of our young people. Please welcome Coach Ashley Pritchard. God bless. You'll do a great job.
Let's pray. Strong and faithful God, we ask for your continued blessing on our athletes, coaches, and friends of Marian University. We thank you for instilling in us a respect for one another in our efforts to glorify you. We especially thank you and we praise you for the lives of the individuals whom you have honored this evening, for their extraordinary accomplishments which have touched the lives of so many in ways which cannot be adequately known. We offer this prayer mindful of your presence in each one of us, which binds us together as one. Amen.
Thank you, dear friends of Marian University Athletics, for being here tonight. God bless you and safe travels.